นี้อยู่กับ bassthai.com นะครับผมได้รับเกียรติให้มาเป็นพิธีกรนะครับสัมภาษณ์คุณ Nanthan นะครับ Hello, how are you?
Yes, fine, thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah.
Sawadika.
Sawadika. Wow. Good Thai language.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. How about your bass clinic yesterday?
Yesterday we had a great time at the bass clinic. So many people showed up, and it was just good energy in the room, and I really enjoyed very much.
I heard that you had just arrived at the airport in 12 o'clock.
Yes.
And then 2 p.m. we could go to the...
Straight from the airport to here, yes.
Were you tired?
Direct. A little bit, but once I got the energy of everybody, no, felt very good.
What is power of music, right?
Power of music, yeah.
Okay, my first question is, basically, why did you make a decision to be a bass player?
Well, I felt that the bass was, for me, it was easy. It was easier than the guitar.
Why was it easy?
You know, because when I first picked up the bass, of course, this has 5 strings, but my first bass had 4 strings.
Oh, okay.
So the fact that, you know, the guitar had 6, the bass had 4, it was just easy for me, you know. And also, I felt very comfortable making music because only have to play one note at a time, you know. Now we play chords, you know, but at that point, you know, I was just responsible for the one bass note, you know, and I felt very, very empowered by this position. Just something very much attracted me to the bass.
Your reason is like me.
Yeah, maybe I'm too lazy. It's too easy.
Okay, when was you first learned how to play bass?
Well, I was 14 years old, and it was after playing cello for 3 years in the orchestra when I heard the big band jazz ensemble at high school, and I just heard the way the bass sounded. It just was so cool. So I wanted to play that, and also whenever I hear a record, my ear just goes straight to the bass. So I figured, you know, I have to play this.
Oh.
Yes.
And could you remember what were some of your first lessons?
Oh, well, you know, for me, my first lessons were just listening to the radio and records. So I would just put the record and play over and over until I could...
Just by ear?
Just by ear.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay, what are the albums that deeply influenced you?
Well, early on, there were so many great albums, but I used to listen to guitarist Wes Montgomery, and his music was just so pure and honest and real and good, you know. So that became one of my inspirations, Wes Montgomery, for just wanting to have something to do with music. Musicians, Ray Brown on bass, so I learned a little bit of walking style, and then over to Motown Records, which featured Jamerson, and one of the world's great, most genius bass player, you know.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. So I loved his bass parts, and I loved Paul McCartney's bass parts in the Beatles, and then you know, Earth, Wind and Fire, and
many styles.
Yeah, many styles and bands. This music's coming at me, you know, from all directions, and Larry Graham and these players that just made the bass like, yeah, they slapping and turned it into, you know, just a more dynamic instrument. So, you know, you can imagine if you're 14 years old and all this influence coming, it was a very exciting time.
And what are some good songs or some licks that you would recommend to someone who are learning to play bass now?
Oh yeah, so you always have to learn Stand By Me. Yeah, that's a bass line every bass player should learn, you know. And then, of course, there's just so many, you know. you know, Michael Jackson, all their records are so great. Here's a good one. Yeah, you know.
Cool. Okay, could you approximate how often did you practice? You practice every day, every 2 days, or every hour?
You know, now to this day, I still play the bass every day. But most of the time I'm working. You know, I'm either in the studio or on a tour. So every day I play. And I think it's important to at least be connected just so you feel comfortable. It's like an athlete, a gymnast, they go...
kind of sport?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Just because your muscles have to feel comfortable, and then you just get more proficient. Mm-hmm. And so even when I was young, I tried to be in many bands or just in as much activity as possible. So always playing, you know, always connected.
Mm. Okay, now Dave, as I know you are one of the most recorded bass player in history of music. But I really want to know, after you get a new demo or new song from someone who want you to record, how did you prepare yourself before go to the studio for recording?
Yes, I mean, every single song is different. And I must say that the only reason I have so many credits now to my name is because for 35 years I've been doing this. So if you can imagine, 365 days, almost a year, doing something either in the studio or recording live. So that's a lot of songs, you know, lots of albums. And so the longer you do this, you know, the more you acquire, just the numbers keep adding up, you know. So when I record a song, there's so many different ways to approach it, you know, and it depends on who the artist is. And I remember the song called Footloose by Kenny Loggins. We practiced this song on tour for months before we recorded it. So when we recorded it, it was only one take or two, and we made the record, and became a very big hit record, #1. Then some songs you go in, and then they show it to you in the studio. They just play a demo for you, and then you have to kind of interpret and figure out what they want. So there's many different approaches to recording, not just one approach, you know.
And different emotions of song.
Different emotions, and you know, every song is going to come out different. We recorded the Eric Clapton song "Tears in Heaven," and this was after a very tragic accident with his son. And so, knowing his son, it was so emotional to record this song that for me, I always say the song played me. I didn't play the song. You know, I had kind of like just put my fingers there, and the notes came out, and I have no idea, you know, what they were doing. You know, so every song is different, and music. That's what I feel is the most magical thing about music and the language of music is that there's no one set way to do anything. You know.
I really want to know, when you are on the stage, are you still excited?
Yes, even yesterday, very excited to be on stage. Whenever I look out and see, when I see people that came to want to hear music, I get excited. I don't care if it's 200 people or 200,000 people. It's still very exciting.
So nice.
Yeah.
Have you ever played some big mistakes on the stage?
Of course.
What kind of mistake?
Well,
mistake bar, mistake note, or mistake groove?
You know, all of it. You know, when you play live, just like anything else, anything can happen. You don't know what's going to happen. You know, and you know sometimes you go for note and just miss it by one fret. To go on stage and try to create something that you know you haven't played or haven't heard. So you don't just necessarily have to play everything that you've practiced, but sometimes you know it's good to search for new ideas and you know sometimes I look at it and I say, okay, what haven't I played, you know, and try to play something new. And so that's what I love about playing live.
Could you give your message for your Thai fan club?
Yes. Well, first of all, Sawadee Kap. And I would just like to say it's always a pleasure to be in Thailand. I love visiting here, and I love the people. And last night I had some very good tom kha gai soup. Tom kha gai. I love the food, and I really enjoy pad thai noodles and many things about Thailand. So I just want to say thank you for inviting me to your beautiful country and to this wonderful city. And I just say continue to make music and enjoy it and have fun with it. And because music, I think, brings peace and happiness and love to the world.
Thank you very much for today.
Thank you very much.